Okay, guys. So what I'm going to do right now is do a quick video on how to do the law of sines. And when we talked about the law of sines, we said this about the law of sines, that it can only work when we know two angles in any side or one angle and two sides, but one of which has to be opposite the known angle. The law of sines only works when I have an angle and a side that are opposite each other. Okay, so let's look at example one that you guys have right before you, or basically let's look at what the law of sine states is that it says that the sine of an angle over its opposite side, that ratio is going to get me the same value as if I were to take the sine of angle B over side B, or the sine of angle C over the side opposite. So in this case, I want to find out what side B is. So in order for that to work, I need to first find the sides and the angles that are opposite each other. So when I look at this picture, I know that those two sides are opposite each other. 108 and 24. The angle 108 and the side 24 are opposite each other. And I also know that 33 degrees is opposite side B. So that's the first thing that I do. The second thing that I do then is once I know that, I'm going to set up the law of sines for the angle and side that are opposite and the angle and side you are trying to find. So in this case, I'm going to find the sine of 108 is opposite 24. So I'm going to set up the law of sines. Remember, law of sines says that the sine of A over little a is going to be the same thing as the sine of B over little b, and the sine of C over little c. So I set that one up, and then I'm going to set that equal to the law of sines, or the sine ratio, sine 33 over its opposite side, which is little b. Okay? So step one is to find the sides and the angles that are opposite, which I did. 33 is opposite b, 108 is opposite 24. Then the second step is to set up the law of sines with the information I just found. Now step three is to find the sine of the angles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find what the sine of 108 is, and I'm going to round it to like the nearest 4 decimals. So I got 0.9510 over 24. And I'm going to do the same thing with sine of 33, which is 0.5446 over b. Okay? Now, the next thing I'm going to do is cross multiply. So I'm going to multiply b times 0.9510. And I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm going to take 24 and multiply it by 0.5446. So I cross multiply. I have 0.9510b. Then I take 24 times 0.5446. And I got 13.07. I'm going to divide both sides by 0.9510. And when I do that, I get side B, the 13.7. Okay? So now, let's look at another example. So this is when I know an angle and I know two angles and a side. Let's look at one in which I know one angle and two sides. So first thing we're going to do is the same thing we did before, angles and sides that are opposite. So 35 degrees is opposite 45, and B is opposite 23. Now I'm going to set up the law of sines the same way that I did before. So I'm going to take the sine of 35 over its opposite side, which is 45. And it's going to equal, in this case, I don't know angle B, so I'm going to say the sine of B over the side opposite, which is 23. The next step is we want to find the sine of the angle. So I'm going to take the sine of 35 and say that's going to be 0.5736 over 45 equals the sine of b over 23. Now, same thing we did before, is now I'm going to cross multiply. So I'm going to take 0.5736, multiply it by 23, and then I'm going to take 45 and multiply it by sine b. But my goal is to solve for sine. So I'm trying to get this quantity by itself. So I multiply 0.5736 times 23, and I get 13.1928 equals 45 sine b. Divide both sides by 45. So I get sine b to equal 0.2932. So I know sine b is 0.2932. Now the last thing is I want to find the missing angle. So I'm going to take the sine inverse of both sides. So b is going to equal the sine -1 of 0.2932. And I get angle B to be 17 degrees. So what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to try questions 1 through 14. And here are the answers to the questions. And we will talk about those the next time I see you.